The Pokemon Go set is here, and this new Charizard makes an old VMAX super overpowered. Roll the intro. What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchanning here, back again with another Pokemon trading card game online deck tech, and today we are going to be covering the brand new Charizard from the Pokemon Go set, one of the many new cool cards to come out of this set. It has the Burn Brightly ability, which reads each basic fire energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 fire energy. You can't apply more than one Burn Brightly ability at a time, but however, 2 fire energy for the cost of 1 is really cool. And Centiskorch VMAX benefits greatly from this because its Gmax Centiferno attacks reads for 2 colorless energy, you can do 40 plus 40 more damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. And if you did any damage with this attack, you may attach a fire energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon for 1 energy. You're basically getting the cost of 2, which means you're doing 120 damage and 150 damage with the Choice Belt for 2 energy. You're going to be doing 200 damage. With a Choice Belt that's 230, and that's enough to knock out any Pokemon V in the game. That's crazy good. You can get this Centiskorch VMAX up and running, smacking 230 or more consistently by turn 2. It's very easy to get a Charizard set up and to get a Centiskorch VMAX set up, thanks to support cards like Kindler, which we can use to discard a fire energy and look at the top 7 cards of our deck and put 2 of them into our hand. We also have 4 copies of Magma Basin to accelerate fire energy from the discard back to our bench. And we have 2 copies of Energy Switch in the deck, so you can discard a fire energy, use Magma Basin, and use Energy Switch to double up on your energy attachment for the turn, essentially. We have 2 Marnie and 3 Research, as well as 2 copies of Skyla to help us search out specific trainer cards we might need, such as Rare Candy to get a Charizard, or Evolution Incense to get a Centiskorch, or Magma Basin to help accelerate more energy. I also play 2 copies of Choice Belt and 12 fire energy in this deck. I am super excited to show off this list, but before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you all so much for the recent support. I want you to like the video if you enjoy it. Comment down below, what do you think of this deck? What do you think of this idea? And subscribe to the channel if you want more awesome and cool and unique Pokemon trading card game online content. Well, without further ado, let's hop into some games and hopefully get a few good matches. Opponent is calling the coin flip here. Let's see what they call and what we get. We get tails, never fails. We're going to go first, like I always say. Now let's see what we are playing against. We're going to give a ball again, hopefully not giving away too much of our deck's strategy, but we'll have to take a look and see what my opponent has in store for us. Dragon type sleeves could be a dragon type deck, which isn't really something that you see super often right now, but we're going to go ahead and mulligan our hand away. Hopefully getting a decent starting hand here. We're okay. This is an okay starter. We can get a turn 2 Charizard, and Charizard can actually attack only for 2 energy thanks to its own Burn Brightly ability. And it'll discard energy, and it comes in handy for the Magma Basin. But we're gonna have a pretty good start here. Gonna go ahead and attach, and then quick ball away this Ultra Ball. Grab ourselves a Centiskorch to get set up here. And we are just going to wait and see. Because next turn, depending on what we draw, we can actually get a Charizard. Where it looks like we're playing against some sort of Turbo Duraludon deck. And this training card's going to be really good for us because we can afford to Ultra Ball away this fire energy and get it back thanks to the training core. But it looks like my opponent is going to play some sort of Turbo Duraludon style deck, kind of like that Turbo Dialga. They're getting rid of a boss though, which is pretty good for us. And the good thing as well is if somehow we can get this Duraludon into the active, we can knock it out super easily. Centiskorch VMAX's damage builds up really quickly, so I'm not too worried about getting locked out by this Duraludon because I think that it's very possible for us to do a lot of damage. Now my opponent is setting up here, getting their Muse, and they're going to go for an Avery here. That's another good thing about this deck. Even though it's weak to water, Palkia doesn't get a crazy advantage over it because we don't play so many bench Pokemon. But my opponent is going to go ahead and get a Radiant Greninja, hopefully to draw more cards and get their Metal Saucers to power up their Duraludon really quick. Now, this Duraludon actually isn't that bad on its own. It takes 30 less damage from attacks, and it does 40 more for each metal energy attached to this Pokemon. Kind of like a budget Dialga V-Star, without the benefit of being able to take an extra turn with Star Chronos. My opponent's going to go into another Mew here, and they're cooking up a lot, getting a switch ready. They're getting ready to hopefully do a lot of damage, but we can take out this Duraludon with relative ease. Now, it is our turn, and we draw it right into the Rare Candy, which is great for us. We can go right into this Charizard and Ultra Ball this hand away, grabbing ourselves a Crobat that we don't have in the deck. Because why would we? You know, why would we have the Crobat in the deck? But it's okay. We're going to grab ourselves a Centiskorch VMAX and get ready to power it up in the future, because we're going to grab our energy, attach it, and go for a Flare Blitz, knocking out our opponent's Mew. Grabbing a prize card, we're actually going to get a Magma Basin, which is really huge for us. We have 2 energy in the discard. Now, even if this Charizard gets knocked out, we can start getting our Centiskorch powered up and ready to go. Now we'll just have to wait and see what we draw. That's a pretty big weakness of the deck, is if you prize your Crobat, it gets really difficult to draw out of big hands, but or small hands, I should say. I should have checked for that Crobat though, and that's a misplay on my part, but that's okay. My opponent doesn't look like they have too much cooking up here. They're only going for one. They only got 1 attachment last turn. They need to find the VMAX, and they need to keep this Duraludon Metal type before they evolve in order to access Metal Saucers. Opponent's going to scoop up their Mew, going into the Radiant Greninja, playing the Mew back down, and they have the switch to go back into it. But let's see what they can find. They're going to go for a Crobat for 4, and I don't think they're going to be able to attack this turn. But if they play their cards right, who knows? You know, I can't be the judge. Opponent once again going to conceal the cards away. A very nice looking metal energy, might I say, from Evolving Skies. Playing the Trekking Shoes. We'll have to see what it gets them. They got a Metal Saucer here, powering up their Duraludon. Now all they need is a manual attachment, and it looks like they don't have it just yet. Grabbing an Evo Instance, they can get another Duraludon out of the deck, but they need a way to retreat and a way to manually attach in order to bring this Duraludon into the active spot, which I don't know if that's really possible. They have the switch into the other Mew, which means they need to find their fighting energy somehow, probably via a energy switch. But no, they're actually going to grab another Choice Belt here, scooping up this Mew, bringing up another Mew, and that might just be the end of their turn. Putting the Choice Belt on the other Duraludon, it looks like my opponent has nothing else to do. Playing their Evo Incense, grabbing another Duraludon VMAX. They can't power this one up with Metal Saucers, and now it looks like the ball is in our court. We're going to get a Training Court, and we're going to hopefully go ahead and draw off of our Radiant Greninja here. We need to get something decent, and it looks like it might be possible. But next turn, maybe next turn it'll be possible. We still have access to this Training Court, but that gives my opponent 1 more turn to get set up. We're moving pretty slow right now, but that's okay. Our opponent doesn't really look like they have much going on as well. They can Training Court and energy back into their hand if they had any in the discard, which they do not. So they actually might very well be in a tough spot as well. Now all we really need is a hefty draw supporter, and we're going to be able to get our Centiskorch into the active and swinging very soon. Now it's okay, for both of our decks are in a stalemate. That's okay, you know, I'm not going to complain. I'm sure they're not going to complain, because once we get this Centiskorch up there, it's going to be wreaking havoc for very, very few energy. But my opponent thinking hard what they're going to do. Obviously start off with a Mysterious Tail, but what will they get? That is the question. They do get an Air Balloon for the switch, but now they need to get another energy off of this Mew, as well as another switching option. They can't retreat, so they need a scoop up or a switch. If they play 3 scoop up and 2 switch, they're going to have to Marnie our hand, which is good for us, and probably they didn't want to do that. But now they gave us an out to many, many options here. Going to concealed cards away a Metal Energy, looking for that Fighting Switch combination. I'm not sure what my opponent's going to be able to do. Getting that energy back. They do have the Fighting Attachment, but that looks like it's going to be it. Now, I'm very, very pleased with our hand right here, because we can bump this Training Court, we can Radiant Greninja this away. And we can actually go for a clean research in just a second. I'm going to attach to the Centiskorch and just hit a nice research, and we'll see what we can find. We do find an energy switch, which I actually really like. It gives us the ability to attack with the Charizard here, which we might not want to do because it seems like their Mew is stuck in the active. So we're going to go ahead and get another energy onto our Centiskorch VMAX here. And I think we're just going to pass. If our opponent doesn't have a way to get out of the active, then we can just steamroll all over them. But off the Mysterious Tail, they get another Metal Saucer. Can't really be used, but they have the manual attachment for right now, which means they can retreat and take out our Charizard. But the good thing is our Centiskorch is going to be putting in a lot of work, ramping up damage really quickly. We can even get more into our hand with Training Court, but they did manually retreat into the Mew, which is kind of curious because they need to get a Scoop Up now to get out. And they're going to have to go for Trekking Shoes. Let's see if they found it. Opponent played 3 Scoop Ups so far. The other one could be prized. It looks like they don't have a switching option here, so they can't take out my Charizard. And luckily for us, we actually might be able to start to save our Charizard and come through, which very well might be the play. We're going to go ahead and Concealed Cards away in energy first and foremost. And we have the switch here, so we can attach to the Centiskorch, and we can switch into the Centiskorch, as well as boss my opponent's Duraludon VMAX up here. Grab another energy from the discard into our hand, and we're going to go for the Gmax Centinferno, doing 280 damage and powering the Centiskorch up even more. Now this Centiskorch is going to be doing a crazy amount of damage, and the Duraludon cannot knock it out this turn. It is mathematically impossible for them to do that. So it looks like they're going to just swing and hope for the best as we start to set up our second Centiskorch V. Now the good thing about this is since we don't need a lot of energy to KO it, they're actually going to start hitting or KO our bench Centiskorch V, which is okay. We should have one more off the prizes, but that's actually not that terrible for us because we can power up the Centiskorch so that it just KOs my opponent's Duraludon twice, and then that's the end of it. We're going to go ahead and attach first and foremost. We'll Concealed Cards away. This puts us in one-shot range, and we can put this Charmander down. And I actually want to save. Do I want to save this hand, or do I want to Marnie them out of options? I think I'd like to Marnie them here because we can keep all this other stuff for a second Charizard, and we need to hopefully find a way to get another Centiskorch onto the bench, which I think is prized right here. So that's okay. We're going to take a quick look in the deck with Evo Incense, grabbing ourselves a Charizard. And it is prized, so we're going to have to get it off these prizes right now to put my opponent at a disadvantage in the prize trade. But we're already going crazy with Gmax Centinferno, doing 440 damage. Nothing is safe from Centiskorch VMAX. We are one-shotting everything my opponent throws at us, and we're going to get that of the Centiskorch off the prizes, as well as an energy switch and a Crobat V, which is very, very good for us right here, because we can bench the Centiskorch and we can energy switch off of it, allowing us to start powering it up as my opponent tries to KO our VMAX here. But it doesn't look like they're going to be able to going into their Celebrations Mew. They are going to have to find a Raihan or something in order to get this Duraludon VMAX powered up. Nothing off the Mysterious Tail. My opponent cannot Metal Saucer, so they might very well be stuck here, leaving our Centiskorch to just steamroll through everything else in its way. They have the Energy Search, and they're most likely going to use it, but they played the Hisuian Heavy Ball first, which is a little bit interesting. Concealed Cards away, the Metal Energy goes. My opponent is going to use the Raihan that I was thinking of earlier in order to attach an energy from their discard, and they have to grab something that can switch, as well as a fighting energy. But they put the Single Strike energy on, and they have the switch, but I don't think that's enough to KO because they're only going to be doing 280 damage, and it looks like our Gmax Centinferno is going to come in clutch and absolutely wreak havoc on my opponent's Duraludon VMAX for a crazy 600 damage attack, destroying it and catching the dub so easily. We ended up dead drawing, but so did my opponent, but that's okay because the GMAX Centiskorch comes in clutch in the end. So what did you think of my Charizard and Centiskorch VMAX deck? I think this Charizard presents a big opportunity that makes fire Pokemon have a lot more support and gives them the extra bump they need to maybe be good, even though we're in a Palkia meta, which really does suck right now for the fire types. But Magma Basin and this Charizard will allow fire Pokemon to be attacking really quickly. I can see this Charizard being paired with something like Charizard V-Star, which will let it attack for only 2 attachments, which could be very powerful. But we'll have to see what this card does for fire Pokemon. Now, this is the part where I say what could be improved with this deck, and I definitely have some ideas. First and foremost, Radiant Greninja does come in clutch sometimes with concealed cards, allowing you to simultaneously discard energy and draw. But what I also find is sometimes you need a hefty attacker to close out your game for super easily, and I find that the new Radiant Charizard from the Pokemon Go set could actually provide that need, or fill the need that to have that kind of attacker. Its Excited Heart ability lets it attack for a colorless less for each prize card your opponent has taken. If your opponent has taken 4 prize cards, you can attack for a fire energy, which is crazy. You can just do 250 for 1 fire energy. With Choice Belt, you're knocking out V-Star, no problem, easy peasy. I think that could definitely make this deck better. I didn't put Heatran in here because I found out that it took too long to get going, especially if you're coming from behind and the Charizard's knocked out. You can't really do too much, but that's why we have the ability to get multiple Charizards out, which is what you would have seen in that Dark Box game. Another option for improving the deck could be Big Charm. Because Centiskorch's damage scales so high, you might favor that extra HP instead of a Choice Belt. Even dropping to a 1/1 line might be preferred. But other than that, I think the deck is really solid. Maybe another Rare Candy could help, but I think the deck works very well and is held together nicely by Skyla and by cards like Kindler to discard your fire energy and bring everything together in a nice way. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Wanted to get this video out quickly because the Pokemon Go set just came out and I'm very excited to make a bunch of videos about some decks from it. So thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below, what do you think of this Charizard and the Scorch deck? What do you like? What do you dislike? What could be better? And with all that said and done, thanks for watching. Hitmonchanting out.